via Zoom, but we have our secretary here tonight, Sheila Lynn, and I don't have any other board members here, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of what we're involved here in Newport Hills. And we are so proud to see so many people turn out. And I would also like to acknowledge the principal from Johnson Elementary School. I never get her name straight, but I believe it's Dr. Tracy Jenkins Martin. Okay, I found it out. But we're proud to have her in the audience tonight. We meet the second Tuesday of every month. We're still doing Zoom meetings. Maybe next year we'll see how the pandemic, we'll go back to in-person meetings. And Real Neighborhood Council does, we clean the ramp, the eastbound ramp on the 94 freeway. We would love to have a few volunteers here and there to help. We also clean Kelton Road going down the hill to the freeway. The city don't get around to doing that. So we would love to have some volunteers to help us with that. And we do ask each household to give us a donation of $20 per year. It's not required, but that helps us with cost of flyers and little incidental things that go on in the community. And I wanted to remind you, if you got this in the mail and you have electronics, please follow the direction on there. They are doing an electronic collection this Saturday. You have to call in and give them your address. You have to complete this tag and put it on your electronics. So I would suggest you put your electronics out the night before, and Saturday morning sometime close to 8 o'clock, put this tag on there because you don't want your name and address exposed to undesirables. That is all well, we are here to voice our opinion about the 129 homes that they are proposing to build on the property called the Radio Tower. And we are just here to get feedback from the community. And please be courteous. If you ask a question, allow someone else or give other people the opportunity, because these meetings can get a little out of hand. It's too close to the holiday for us to get upset. And on that note, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to turn it over to Martha Abrams, the chair of this committee.
Thank you, Evelyn. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate all of you being here, and it's great to see the community involvement with this matter. A little bit about me. I grew up in Emerald Hills. I went to Johnson Elementary, and I moved back as an adult, and I have taken an active interest in this community. And the purpose of this subcommittee was to determine the community's desires for this space and to advocate for those what the community is requesting. The purpose of tonight's meeting is an open dialogue, and we're gathering information. We may not be able to answer all of your questions, but we will try. We only have the answers that the development, from what the development has already shared with us. We feel that is imperative that every resident of this community is made aware of what is happening with the radio tower property and their voices heard. As we all know, the radio towers have been part of this community since 1948, when the KFSD radio station moved to Emerald Hills, which at the time was a country club. Ultimately, the station became what we now know as KOGO. Since that time, the towers and the space has become a local iconic landmark. Most recently, the private owner of the land contacted D.R. Horton, the developing company, and offered to sell it to them. So, hold on, I'm blocking. D.R. Horton has attended several of our community meetings, and what they are proposing is 129 homes on that property. There will be one entrance and one exit. Sorry. This will be the entrance and exit right here. One way in, one way out. This is 60th. And we believe this is Dipper. Dipper. There will also be one emergency vehicle access that is on Old Memory. It's on the opposite end of the development. A few of those homes will be affordable, is what the developer has said. The rest will be at market value. They have done a preliminary traffic analysis and stated that 60th Street would not be impacted. They're saying it's a collector street, which can handle 10,000 cars, and according to their analysis, the impact will only be 8,000 cars. They believe it will be beneficial to this community because it would bring new families to the community and to the park. The additional people could boost enrollment at Johnson Elementary. They would build homes that are reasonably resemble the characteristics of the existing homes. So there's a picture of what they're proposing. Since this development was brought to our attention, we have talked to many residents, and here are some of the concerns. So the additional 129 homes could potentially mean 300 plus more cars on 60th. 60th is currently unsafe and already heavily congested. Cars have begun to use Old Memory Lane and Pelton Road to get to the 94 because 60th is so congested, endangering students at Johnson Elementary, which, as we know, has caused them to have to reroute their drop-off and pick-up. The road east of 60th Street is not equipped with barriers, sidewalks, and is extremely narrow. As we know, it's a two-lane road. There's potentially sewer issues. I think we have some in here tonight that can probably talk a little bit about that if anyone has additional questions about it. The wildlife, the coyotes, and the hogs and the owls that's home to that space will be affected by this development. And also, what we've always heard is that it's a sacred Indian burial ground, of the Kumeyaay, and so that's also a concern. The area does not have the infrastructure to support this high-density development. As you know, most of the roads in Emerald Hills and surrounding are two-lane roads. Our streets are not kept up or maintained as it is, and adding an additional 129 homes, what does that mean to our infrastructure? We did meet with Councilmember Monica Montgomery, and she states that there's a housing crisis, and where there is land, they will build houses. The city can't afford to purchase this land, according to Monica Montgomery, but encourage us to frame the narrative to the developer. We want to make sure that your voice is heard, and that's why we are here this evening. In addition to how this impacts you, please let us know if you have any other ideas of how we can better use that land space and how it can benefit the community and the city. We have spoken to many residents, and we've had an overwhelming response of opposition to this plan. Obviously, we want to advocate for you, but we will need your involvement as well. If we can gather enough mobilization and support opposing this development, we have a greater chance of opposing it if that is your position. Or if we can't outright stop it, a large group of support may help us in negotiating and leveraging specific specific things and to say things that we can present to the developer in order to, you know, develop something that will benefit this community. So we give you guys the floor. You're welcome to speak. There's a 2-minute limit. There will be a timekeeper, and when you hear that buzzer, that means you need to wrap up. We have to end this meeting at 8 p.m. And with that being said, does anyone have anything to say?
So I picked the front seat. Are we ready?
You got to face the audience.
Hi, Sheila.
I'm literally going to be timing everyone to step up.
Yeah, there will be a buzzer.
All right. Mark Santos, I live on Old Memory Lane. I am opposed to the magnitude of this project, but I also know that there are forces at bay here, and the best we can hope for is to negotiate and influence just how big this project is. I want to see 50% minimum west mound being parkland. Then you can develop 50% on the east mound. That's what I would shoot for. And I would definitely believe that the traffic pattern, if this entire project goes, the traffic pattern will get worse for Old Memory Lane. It's already bad enough. We've got people speeding and running through there as if folks don't live there. I'm at the top of the hill, and it will just add, to the problem. Because when they stop people from going onto the freeway down there at Federal, their only recourse then is to come through Old Memory Lane. And I seen that during COVID, and it was a mess. It was dangerous. And we have elderly neighbors, and I'm getting to be an elderly neighbor. And I drive a little bit slower like my elderly neighbors drive. And it's just dangerous because people that live outside of the community don't care about who lives in the community. They're in a rush because they left late. They didn't prepare themselves. Well, that's John over there. Hey, John, that's my neighbor from down the street. I think it's very important that we push hard to limit as much as we can this development. I don't think it's necessarily right for us to be told as taxpayers, well, we're the city and we can buy the land. We can tell you what's going to happen because we're in the crisis for housing. You're already concentrating housing up along Imperial, up along Euclid. You just have to plan better. I don't know what's wrong with folks. Their traffic planning is horrible. The light sequences down here at this intersection, horrible. Going all the way out to downtown, horrible. So we're going to set ourselves up for more failure and for increased danger for our residents? I don't think so. So this is where I stand. We limit it as much as possible.
My name is Kenny Key. I put together this video. I live at pretty much the summit of Old Memory Lane. I was 7 years old when we moved into that house, the original owners, and it is the most breathtaking view. And I've known it to be that all my life. We're pretty much, I'm 55 years old, and it's always been private property. So the city's people don't know how breathtaking and beautiful it is from this spot. It's one of the last open spaces left in San Diego that's underdeveloped, has not been developed. And when I put this together, I kind of had a sense of a historical type mission I was on, because it is a lot of history on this site. This is, like you said, 1948 was when these towers were built. And I had time to spend talking with the caretaker up there. And he was giving me information, and I was just loving it. He was saying how the military delayed the building of this site, of the towers, because of the transformers they had at Choice Lake. There was 3 towers over there. Those were relay stations from Washington, D.C. to Pearl Harbor. And they delayed the building of these for 10 years because they figured it was interfering with that. And I was like, wow. And then he was like, yeah. And this is, you guys got your name because of the golf course that was built up here. It was an Emerald Hills country club. It was a country club for the rich and the golf course up there up until 1961. In 1961, it was a public golf course up until then. It served as commercial, but it's always been plotted for residential, single-family living homes. We found out, we've been digging for information. We were trying to find out if it had some type of Qumran Indian burial significance or burial ground significance. And reached out to San Diego State, got some few people, and then one of the elders from the tribes are looking into this. If they do start developing, we'll have a historical archaeologists on site in case they find anything. But just a lot of history of the radio. It was KOGO, KSON. Okay, the East Tower is radio. The West Tower is FM radio and TV. It's never been used for TV though. It was always radio. So he was giving me that information, and I put this together because we need a visual to help better tell our side of the story. This is a gym in the middle of the city, and multiple. It should be a bidding frenzy, not just this developer to develop. And we need, just like they did, they said, and down there at Qualcomm. They had many renditions of alternative solutions to the space, to utilize the space, incorporate more open space trails and things of that nature, not just building homes or building buildings, putting homes on every square foot of San Diego is not what we need to do. Some spaces are just, we got an elementary school, we got a park. I say we expand the park and tie in the learning experience of radio, tower, the history of it, with the school, senior center, incorporate a scenic view from up there. I even had a vision the other night of a way to make money to the community, some type of place where people would love to be married up there with that type of background. I mean, it's a lot of different things that can be done with that space other than making a builder rich. So shut up.
So this is the contact information for our council member if you want to contact her and voice your concern. And then also the contact person for GR Board who said to call him anytime. And
definitely take a picture so you can speak to these people.
Excuse me, Martha, is there a website where you can see all this information at? Something on our computer?
There are some posts on Nextdoor, but there's not a website.
And we will come to you and give you the mic. You don't have to walk up front. I'll take care of this side. There's a young lady on this side. Who's next?
Hello. program. It's the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. The golden eagles, as well as the owls and the hawks, live there. The golden eagles are protected by the federal government. No one can touch them. Their habitat is also protected by the federal government. So I ask you, well, I'll tell you that this bird program works with partners to protect, restore, and conserve bird populations and their habitat for the benefit of future generations by ensuring long-term ecological sustainability of all migratory bird populations. I refer to the flyer that went around. Dr. Horton wants us to tell you what would be most beneficial for the community to have in that space. I would say eagles bring majesty to teach your children about wildlife and the importance of conserving. That one little piece of land is the habitat for a lot of species. A lot of species will be lost. We've lost enough already. Thank you.
Nobody on this side? Okay.
All right. So,
Introduce yourself. What's your name?
my name is Adam. I'm not going to go with my last name. Okay. But so I live above the. I live on top of the hill there. I get the whole view of the landscape there, of the development area. And a friendly city councilman trying to. I ain't with that. With what they're trying to talk about, the pro building and all that right there, because I don't know what goes in their pockets like that. And I'm just being honest, like that's the way that is like that. You know, they speak for our streets. Fix the streets before you start trying to build them houses over there. You know what I mean? I live right there. You want to build them houses right there? Fix them streets right there. Okay, all that whole north side of the Camo, I live right there. I drive up there. So, people are talking about the environment, okay? So, in my backyard, my backyard is a canyon, big crevice right there. In my backyard alone, there's a falcon, there's a falcon in my backyard, there's coyotes, there's hawks that live on the east side over there, there's an owl. Okay, and there's a vulture. Okay, people don't know this. You see this for those people around here. You see a big black bird floating around here. Okay, with it got white tips and a red head. It's a turkey vulture. Okay, which isn't part of this, and which isn't. He migrated west, what they don't normally do.
Right.
Okay, so once in a while, he flies over my. He lives across the street from me, and the neighbors can't. No, I swear to God, he lives across the street from me. And the neighbor's street is across the street. Okay. And so once in a while, some mates come over and they come over, and you'll see 2 or 3 of them. And, oh wow, look at that! They come to visit. Okay, but they dine. Their food is in that land there of the bunny rabbits and the little squirrels and everything in that land there. Okay, the coyotes at night, I hear them howling down there. That's their food source, that land. They're going to take that from them. Where are they going to go? Okay? They're already eating our dogs and our cats. Okay? They're already eating our dogs and our cats. So let's stop that. I mean, right? Let's give it the natural environment. You know, nature does its thing. And what else I have to say? Okay, 60th Street, don't even give me that stuff about 60th Street is made for anything. Go down 60th Street, try to get on the freeway at 7:38 in the morning. Okay? You're waiting 15 minutes to get on the freeway. Okay? Now you want to add 300 more cars? For every house you're going to add, I don't want 1 car, 2 cars per house, because you can have kids. You know what I mean? So you're talking, let's say 3 to 4 cars per house. Okay? times what, 180, 189, okay? Now add that on 6th Street, the only way they gotta get out of there, okay? So, I don't know what else to say, I just want to make it kind of quick. I got how many seconds I got left? I wanted to pick up the environment because I see that. I look at my backyard is that whole view, that whole thing. And I know, I look to the left and I see the vultures and I see the hawks and everything. I see all that, and then I know where they feed. And that's part of the land. The coyotes, I hear them at night eating down there. And so, where are they going to go? What are they going to do with these? You know what I mean? There's only one turkey vulture that lives there in that area right now. What are you going to do with it? Where's it going to go? You know? Everybody had another feed.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm sorry, I'm part of the committee. We do want to try to keep it to 2 minutes. So maybe we can get other people's chance and then we can.
How long was that? How many seconds was that?
My name is Brandon Stepp. Grew up in Emerald Hills. This is not an unprecedented moment in our neighborhood. I recently spoke with a gentleman named Mr. Stewart, who's my neighbor as long as I can remember, recently passed away at the age of 100. He actually fought for the Radio City Drive, that's the canyon that runs behind Alvin Street, to be dedicated open space to the park, as they were trying to make low-income houses down there in the 70s, I believe. So this is not unprecedented. And so understanding that it may be too late, from what I'm hearing, is it possible to go again and talk to Park and Rec about making dedicated open space of that land? If not, then I suggest that the builder do take into consideration the existing community and do carve out space for young people. Kenny Key right here runs Game Face Video. He works with young people. They do video. If they can carve out some space for the young people in the neighborhood, that would be great. Thank you. I'm going to lose the last couple seconds to say my main concern isn't the traffic. My main concern is the water and sewer, because the more infrastructure you add to this old aged infrastructure, the more these pipes bust in these streets. So I'm sorry.
Hi, I live on Weaver Street. I grew up here. My father bought the house after he got out of the military. I think it's a pretty common story in Emerald Hills. My concern that I would like to express is about traffic. And we hear everybody's mentioned that. But I'm right by Johnson Elementary, and I know there's certain hours we've all experienced it. You just can't get through there. I think we need to consider building a cutout or something, some kind of a drop-off pickup loop that takes advantage of some of the schoolyard space, maybe, to bring some relief to the existing neighbors who are already here, especially if they're planning to bring in more community. That's all.
Good evening, my name is Paul Erickson. I live on Tooley Street. It's on the Canto side. I am concerned about the traffic, and I was wondering if we can work with the city to possibly build a second access road through the park that's there now and swap parkland into this area. So we would end up with a second road coming out of Canto on the other side of the school, so the traffic wasn't going past the school. So I think the city should get involved in this, and the city parks probably to help out and see if there's a way to mitigate some of the traffic issues. I noticed on the drawing that they talked about, the wording at 60th, but they're going to have to go all the way up 60th to Tooley Street and the next street over the hill, widen stuff, or maybe put a traffic signal. There's blind spots on 60th. There's going to be accidents there. I've seen nodding heads. Because I always go up 60th and turn onto Tooley, and cars hide in that dip. It's going to get worse. I agree with the first speaker. We're probably not going to get rid of this project completely. We should limit it as best we can and compromise as much as we can. And be great. This is a beautiful view, a place we'd all want to go on a Saturday afternoon. Let's not lose it. I think we should do what we can do to get as much as we can for our community here. And I did look in the community plan, and it said the vision for our district is to activate open space. And whoever wrote that probably didn't mean putting housing in the open space. I think we should activate it for our use as well as we can.
Hi, my name is Joseph Sapp. My mom and dad bought the house when they first built them. Kenny Key's my best friend. There's a problem on the corner of Old Memory going down the hill. When my mom backs out, Renee's house has gotten almost launched into from cars. George Stevens, when he was living, he was trying to get speed bumps. We are getting that speed bumps. So now they're doing all these projects, and we're going to go from here. It's a big problem. Like I said, it's a bend, and they're going like 30 miles an hour. The signs they have there, you barely can see them.
Is that it? Can't be it.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Arthur Jackson. I lived in the area for a long time, since the 60s in Cancho. Right now, I live off over there by Coronado Views. And as of right now, just coming out from my street onto 60th Street, it's almost like playing Frogger sometimes. You know, I mean, people are flying up that hill, they're going 50 miles an hour, and the traffic is just real bad. Okay? Going down the hill when I used to go to work, we saw that traffic that would back up on Federal 60. Okay? And what I would do sometimes is just say, forget that, I'm gonna turn around, I'm gonna drive to Emerald Hills, because it's a lot easier getting on the freeway from Kelton Road. I think you're gonna see a lot more of that happen. A lot more of that happen. So that's one of my major concerns. And then 60th Street, there is a southbound dip at Dipper Street. Now, I've called in about that to Erica San Diego. I've even sent an email over to Steph. Haven't got a response. That doesn't make me feel good about hearing my concerns about any future projects. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to say and make this, I don't know, council aware of, is that they have to listen to people in the area, because it's just, you just can't build stuff, take the money, take off, and just leave us with problems. Yes.
Sorry, I'm going to just say a few things. So, in addition to this development and the traffic that that's causing, we also have to remember that the Liberal Center, because there's so much traffic on Euclid, people are going to use Kelton Road to get through the neighborhood, so that's more traffic on Kelton Road, not just people from going to 60th. And then also, they're in talks of putting an 8-unit apartment building on Derby and Roswell. Very glad, so part of that land. So there's a lot of things coming to our neighborhood, and so that's why we're holding this forum, because we really want to hear what people have to say, and we really, really encourage you to speak to our council member.
Is there a council rep here today?
Not here today.
That's wrong right there.
This is informational. We're just gathering information, and as we go along, we'll have more. We can ask her to come to a meeting where everyone can express how they feel about it. And we're also, I think, to what you said, someone said about, we're also talking with Andy Fields from City Parks and Rec about obtaining funds to purchase it for open space. And so we have a lot of things in the works, but this is really just to gather information so that we can better advocate for our community.
bombard our councilperson's office with emails and phone calls, as well as, what's the other thing up there?
Dan?
Yeah, the developer, but our councilperson, because she's working for us, right? Yeah, so there we go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nolan Richardson. I live on Belina.
Let's start.
And a few people mentioned the traffic. I would very much, has anyone contacted Dan and asked for their copy of their traffic study so we can actually evaluate what they actually have done? That would be one of the questions that I would have. I would also ask the question, we have an idea where the city sits on this proposal, because again, they've indicated we need more housing. I'm a strong proponent of the first gentleman who said that we can negotiate and reduce the size of the planned community. That would be very helpful. The other thing is, if anyone, I'm sure a lot of people have driven down 60th, there's been a number of homes impacted on 60th, right there on the corner of Chamont and 60th. That house has been hit at least 3 or 4 times. And then on Thule, that house has been hit at least once. The traffic is an issue. So I would be very, very interested in seeing and recognizing and actually reading and recognizing what Dan, the representative from D.R. Horton, has done, because there are a lot of issues right there on the corner of 60th, Chamont, and Thule.
I can answer at least one of those questions. I can answer at least one of those questions for you, sir, in regards to what they plan to do with R.D. Hart, what he had told us in regards to the traffic. I was trying to respond to your first question about the traffic. At this point, the property has not been sold. The owner of the property is the radio tower company. They have multiple spots all over the country. This one they want to sell. This is prime real estate. They want to sell it. So they reached out to this developer. Hey, check it out. See what you could do. See if this is right. And if you can make it happen, make it happen. Take it off our hands. We want to sell. If we sell, we'll take the towers down. You develop the land. Okay? There's nothing formal being given to the city on behalf of this property being sold or starting the process going. They're just doing their due diligence right now. They're coming to us. They've had multiple times, or at least once, they've come to our monthly Zoom meeting for Inno Hills Council. Tonight, we encourage everyone here to be involved in your community through this Zoom. We ain't got to come out in person like this, and you can still weigh in. And we're senior heavy in this neighborhood. They can't get out the house. When I was knocking and when I go around passing out flies, they were senior heavy. So we need the next generation to step up to represent the demands and desires of our community. Okay, we have a lot of seniors counting on us, okay, and a lot of youth. Okay, these children go to school up here, okay, but the fact that back to your question with the traffic, they have not submitted any type of formal results. They have preliminary everything, he said. And I took offense to that when we were in the Zoom, and I spoke out against that because of the fact that how are you going to consider developing in our community and you haven't looked at the results or impact of your development first? That just goes to show you how they feel about us. Okay, we're Southeast San Diego, we just come in, throw the money down, we can just come take it. All that we thought we was going to get at Market Creek, look what happened. We want to do anything down there, we got to break ourselves, come out of the pocket. They promised the world to us. Okay, here we go again. Okay, we need to step in and say enough. If we was La Jolla, you wouldn't be coming at us like this. If we was in Rancho Santa Fe, you wouldn't be coming at us like this. You know, you would have those reports done first. Those assessments, those mandatory environmental impact reports. And then you consider if this is a good deal for us to do, not the other way around.
Thank you, Ken. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I really just want to piggyback on what Kenny is saying. The most important thing is to stay involved. So if we're going to have any chance in actually getting a change to development, the more people who stay involved, the better. So does everyone here feel committed to staying involved? Okay, so Emily, do you mind putting the slide that has our email? So I've seen a lot of people signing up, that's great. And then I'll let Evelyn speak next. So please feel free to email us as well. So this email here is specifically for this project. So if you need to reach out to us, this is how you can get in contact.
If you need help setting up to get on Zoom, we got phone numbers you can call us. We're more than happy to help you. You know, you can comfort in your home, you can stay connected to your community. From your smartphone. Get the younger generation, get the grandkids, get the young people to help you. You know?
Yeah, so the other couple of other things I want to say is if you are committed to being involved, the most important next meeting is January 23rd. This is when D.R. Horton will be presenting at the Cholas Valley Planning Group, and this is where they eventually will have more power and influence. The more times they attend these planning meetings, this positions them for making applications for their development. So being there and voicing opposition on the 23rd is really important. The other thing I just want to say is, everyone, have you met Chandra? She's here in the purple. So you can go to her or someone else and sign the petition. So please, if you're going to sign the petition, we just need to have certain information in order for your signature to be valid. Now, I've had a couple people raise their hand. Sir, I very much respect you, and just out of respect for Evelyn.
I have a question when you get through.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah.
Evelyn, do you mind if I take this question? Sure. Okay, sir, what's your question?
So the 23rd, that's a Zoom only meeting?
It is, yeah.
So, perfect question. Can you please raise your hand if you need help with Zoom? Like, if anyone needs help with Zoom.
So Zoom's not my issue.
Okay.
As far as meetings, you know,
Yeah.
my issue is when you're on Zoom at these kind of meetings, the school board does it. They love to hit mute the mic. They can cut you off. But see, when we're in your face, it's a little harder to cut us off.
Yes.
And so that's my problem with Zoom.
Yes. What's been really good, and I'll let Martha speak to this and some others, thank you for voicing that, but in these Cholas Valley planning groups, it's been a lot easier for people to speak. And if you need to interrupt someone, you can sometimes speak a little longer. So please do come. If your concern is you won't be heard, there will be many advocates that you see in this room who will make sure your voice is heard. So we'll let Evelyn speak unless there's any other questions.
I just wanted to reiterate one thing. Regardless of what happened with this development, we as a community need to band together and fight for the issues that we want. I get many calls complaining about what the council is not doing. The council consists pretty much of the 4 board members and 4 or 5 other senior ladies. Every so often we get a few men attending. The project, cleaning the 94 freeway is Sheila, her husband, and myself. So we are in dire need of help and support, and Dr. Jacob Martin can tell you from June last, I would say around April, when the traffic really got out of control on Calvin, the beginning of the school year, I probably got 10 calls, people calling me all kind of names. I don't work for the school board. I don't work for the city. I volunteer for Emory Harris. So with the joint effort of Dr. Martin, the Lincoln Cluster Group, the traffic, and Ms. Kimberly Reels was a liaison principal. I can say it's successful. It's not easy. You're still gonna get a few people say, oh, it's not an officer there this morning. I'm gonna make a U-turn and go back east, Kelly. I'm gonna make a U-turn and go back to the freeway. I'm 5 minutes late already. So those are the issues that we need the community to work with the council and whatever issues or support. We know right now they are not taking volunteers at the school, but we are hoping that they will come and the community can get back into the school. My issue is, this is an elementary school. We need to nurture these children now, because by the time they get to middle school, it's going to be too late. And once again, I want to thank everyone for coming in. Who wants the mic? Dr. Martin wants the mic.
I don't need a mic. I'll use my playground voice. We have now started taking volunteer applications. So if you are ready to come and for your students, we are ready to have you. So we just now, just this last month, started taking some volunteer applications. So thank you for reminding me to say that.
Hi, I'm Marjorie Anderson. I live on River Street, my husband and I. And most people that drove by on River Street probably noticed our paved driveway and probably a black dog if you walk out into the park and down and past the school. And go to the school, just over our banking is the Head Start. It's just a trailer. And then the school. If they build a lot of houses in units, have anybody thought about the impact it's going to have on all of us with the amount of children going to these schools? Are they going to have to build a bigger school? And can they accommodate that? And our taxes, our house taxes, might be really impacted by them building more schools, more Head Starts, more schools. So that's one of my concerns, and of course, the traffic, and everybody's talking about the traffic. Well, not to get into the Head Start, they have cones and everything, trying to guide people into the Head Start, right in front of our house. And it's a mess. People won't go where they're supposed to, and they try to turn around right in the middle of the road so that they're not in line right. So what I'm saying is, we've got to think about the school too. That's what I'm concerned about. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cynthia Santos, and I live at 5867 Old Memory Lane. My mother is 96 years old. She's been there since 1973. And I am her next-door neighbor. And that concern for our seniors that can't speak in these open forums, we, as a voice, should speak for them and be more involved, as Ms. Evelyn has stated. We need to spread the word, not just in Emerald Hills. We need to go across the freeway because they're going to be impacted. We need to go throughout Encanto. And across the 94 freeway has been already rediverted for their exit to Euclid. This impact on traffic is the most serious thing. It's harmful to safety. All of those things are involved in this development. And in part, they can use the ravine that's beside the freeway for access to go in and out and reduce that project. If they do so, then it won't be as dangerous for the school. And again, talk to everybody. Make sure they are informed accurately of what is going on and how it's going to affect each generation. Thank you.
I just want to say hi really quick and say how thankful I am that there's so many people here this evening. We canvassed over the weekend to try to get people to come out tonight, but we can only do so much. We actually need more help and more volunteers. This is not going to be the first meeting by any stretch of the imagination. If we want to stop or mitigate, we have to unify and let our voices be heard, and we can only do that as a group. So I encourage all of you, if you are strongly committed to stopping the development, please come up to us and let us know if you want to help spread the word, volunteer, if you know someone that knows someone. I met this very fine gentleman Saturday, one of the days of the weekend, and he's an architect, and he lives in Emerald Hills. He helped with the rebranding of the Four Corners of Life, and he gave us some valuable information, and he's jumped on our committee, and he's going to help us because he knows all about the zoning laws and things that many of us on the committee don't know about. So again, I encourage you, please let us know if you want to help, and I thank you so much for being here, but tonight doesn't end it. You have to keep it up. Thank you.
I just want to introduce myself. My name is Julio. I live on Pyramid, and I've been there for 5 years. My in-laws live a mile away off of 60th in Wonderland, and they've been there for 15 years. So when my wife and I were looking for somewhere to buy in San Diego, we thought, let's go to Emerald Hills. We like the location, we like the view. You might have seen me around. I typically run with my dog. It's a 5-year-old husky. So if you ever see someone running around the neighborhood with a husky, that's me. So hello, neighbors. I thought this was a very interesting conversation and sort of the ideas that are being shared here today. I think, quite frankly, through multiple people and power and numbers, we can show that we care about our community, that we have a voice, and we want to see something very specific there. And I think sort of a compromise would be good. I don't know if we can halt the development 100%. The property is zoned for residential. However, it's zoned for large property residential. So I think the minimum parcel right now that can be built is 10,000 square feet per parcel. So the developer will most likely try to rezone that area to what's called an SR15 or 17, which is closer to the parcel size that we currently have. Sort of, my parcel is 7,000 square feet or 5,000, whatever it is. But in any case, I think eventually they can potentially develop the property, but maybe they limit it to 40 units or 40 homes. One other thing too that we want to keep in mind, especially for the traffic study, is that they're looking at the traffic study. If it were to be constructed tomorrow, that's the daily trips. Now, since California and San Diego is impacted with homes, there's a lot of ADUs that are being built. They're called accessory dwelling units. So potentially all those houses, whether it's 40, 60, 100, can have more than one unit, right? Because people are converting their garages, or they're building on top, or they're adding to. So that can also increase the traffic. So although the traffic 300 trips, a few years from that, or 5-10 years from that, it can potentially be 500, 600 trips. So it's something that we also have to keep in mind. And then another thing that we can show here is, there's potential to develop a site in a way where you're giving back to the community. So I would love to see like an open space. Maybe there's something potentially like this, where there is some development, but maybe half of the land is dedicated back to the community, where there could be some spaces for bird watching or some educational plaques of sorts. And I would love to see sort of a community center of sorts that the community can rent out and have different events or even weddings, etc. So I think if we sort of band together and we let the city know that we would like something more than just development, I think we can definitely get done, for sure.
So it looks like some things are going around. I just want to clarify what they are. So one is a petition. That one requires your name, address, phone number, and signature. And that's the petition for opposition of this development plan. And then there is a sign-in sheet. And that sign-in sheet is, if you can provide your email, we can keep you guys informed about our meetings. Okay, so this is a sign-in sheet. And to put a star by your name if you're wanting to volunteer. So that way we can keep you guys in the loop about meetings that we're having or more forums that we're going to be holding. Is there anyone else that wants to speak? Okay, sorry.
Hi neighbors. So when I first saw, I've been living here in Emerald Hills for the past 8 years. Me and my family moved down there in Winston Street. When I first saw the pictures, I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. It's like Kate Sessions. It has the possibility of being like a Kate Sessions park on the hill with beautiful 360 view of the city and the beach. And like me and my nephew, we always go hiking in the canyons. We go play tennis at the park. So having more space for kids to play is so necessary. Like this is like one of the only few places we can walk to the park and actually, like have space to run around. And just thinking of having 130 houses there would be just a disservice to the future generation and the kids. And yeah, like the traffic is a huge mess now in Euclid, and I can't imagine how bad it's gonna be down over there. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be volunteering. The development, I know it's probably gonna happen, but at least if we have 50 or more percent of the land dedicated to parks, that would be really beautiful.
My name is Rosalind Cook. I live on Old Memory Lane. I'm part of the subcommittee as well. And just one of the things that everyone has spoke on the traffic, and the impacts on the road. The one thing that I haven't really heard is how the traffic is going to impact the air quality. Because if you think about what we deal with now, because there's some times and there's other people who walk the dogs or get out there and run, and you just think about depending on the time of day that you're walking or running or just out there, and if it's early morning and the cars are coming through and they're trying to get down to Kelton or whichever direction they're coming from, and just the amount of smog that kicks off from there, and you just think along the lines of you're adding another 300 to 400 cars, because someone mentioned that most houses have at least 2 to 3 cars in each house. So you think about that and what that's going to add to the air quality as well. So we want to keep that in mind.
don't think you should use that word yet. It's too early. I mean, you need to go forward and have a good attitude about it. And I like the idea of a park. I think that's important for this area. This area might be underserved. People need to go to the city, probably Parks and Rec, and ask them, is this a community that is underserved park-wise? Because there are communities like that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Isabella Castellanos, and I reside on 6015 Oakland Street, right in the corner. And I've been there close to 20 years. And since then, I've not only witnessed, but also hear sirens all the time. There's a lot of speeding going on. There's a lot of people that walk their dogs and just utilize the sidewalk that was built a couple years ago. I'm thankful that the sidewalk was built, but yet it reduced the size of the lanes. And because of that, even I that tends to walk to the park for exercise or pleasure just because I can do that, have to be very careful, especially now that the time changed. So I do appreciate the fact that the city wants to revitalize the area, and I know the need of housing, but I also perceive that the area needs a lot of fixing. I mean, there's a lot of roads. I mean, right where I live, the minute I turn, I mean, there's all these holes and a lot of things that need to be taken care of. So I feel that that needs to be addressed, because if there's all these side streets that need a lot of repair before they go forward, that's a big important thing to take care of. And then if they are going to revitalize the area, that I agree with my neighbor over there, that we do need a better park, better lighting, because the lighting is terrible. That we do work as a community. I would also like to volunteer and make sure that they do build the park, because the park we have at this time, it's not a park to be at. So unfortunately, we can only use a couple of hours during the day to utilize it. So thank you.
So if you said tonight that you want to volunteer or you're thinking of volunteering, then yeah, definitely email us so that we can help coordinate that.
That's tonight. Get your information tonight. Don't let them leave. Don't let them leave.
Just a little FYI, the park that's by the school, in back of the school, that park was dedicated to be redone years ago. So, as you can see, those of us that have been living in the community for a while, it's still on the list. So if it's on the list and there's no other parks too much around in the vicinity,
Yeah.
you look at MLK parks, you look at whatever else we have close, why is it taking so long? And keep that in mind with this potential development. It's like, okay, well, if they're trying to push something through, let's talk about what's going on that's already supposedly to be working for us. And it hasn't been done. I'm not going to sing a song, no sir.
Okay, if we don't have any more comments or questions or remarks, then we can, go ahead and end the meeting. Absolutely. Oh, and I think you wanted to say something too.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead.
Okay. You have an hour or so.
Once again, Uncle Jackson, I was just thinking about the traffic situation, but I was thinking more in terms of and how it's going to impact me coming out of Cornell Views. But as all this other development gets done, as people come up over the hill from 60th Street, from the camp shop, coming up over the hill, they're going to get down to Old Memory Lane, or keep on going up 60th Street. They're going to have a decision to make. Do I want to keep going up 60th? I know it's going to be packed going down that hill. Or should I go to Greenville Hills? You're going to have a lot more people making that decision right down there by Old Memory Lane and go up through Old Memory Lane to get to the freeway, to Hoover Street. Yeah, Hoover Street. And you see the condition of Hoover Street already. It's already pretty rough. That was it.
So it's got a lot of conditions because impacting traffic as well as the other 6 stars as well as.
Right. Yeah, I've seen the comments.
Yeah, we also missed the fact that when these folks will start developing, there's commercial traffic that's coming on big trucks. There's a lot of dirt and dust in the air. I don't know what's in the soil up there. But that's going to be flying around their neighborhoods. You know, and it's already like where I live, I get all the breeze coming up and the termites from the elementary school. Yeah, they take my house. But that's something else we need to be aware of. When development starts, there needs to be some air quality mitigation factors and also sound. Because they're going to start early, they're not starting late. I like to sleep in right now. But these folks will be there and they'll be starting about 6:30 and they're not supposed to start till 7. So that's something else to be aware of. I also thought about this a lot, like somebody said they had, I think it was Kenny. He said he had a vision. You know, I watched these guys parachute off the towers at night. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I took a video and put it on Facebook. Incredible that they do this. But this is time, I guess. But when we think about the flora and the fauna that has been there, that supports an ecosystem that we have enjoyed as community members, it's now threatened. That's our quality of life as well. Because as natural life that has been here starts to decrease, our quality of life tends to decrease as well because we've encroached. Now, I've seen coyotes run in our neighborhoods at like early morning hours when little kids are walking the street to go to school. To me, that's dangerous. It will be worse because we're taking away from them prime hunting grounds. And again, you heard about the birds and so forth. What we do now is we have to make a decision. Are we going to commit? Are we just here to get it off our chest, and then sit back and watch it happen? I'll be volunteering. That's what the family does. But we need people when we call for people. We need folks to step out. And we need you to talk to your neighbors and get them to step out as well. Because this is just a small fraction of the people that live in Emerald Hills. Everybody has to play their part. My wife's probably going to kill me because I volunteered.
Good evening, neighbors. I live on Emerald Hills, right on 60th Street. And it's so difficult to get out of my own driveway. That means that there's times where I take my kids late to school, I'm late to work, and I just cannot imagine this development. It's gonna be hell. Yes. And yeah, this is my husband, and hopefully we can help out in any possible way. I appreciate you coming knocked on my door, and you gave me a flyer, and that's why I'm gonna have to work a little bit early so I can make it. Woohoo! And I would like to provide with something. And what would that be? Knocking on doors, like someone said, go across the 94th freeway and make other people aware of what's going on and how this is going to affect all of us. So here I am.
Is that it? Anyone Mr. Bud, for allowing us to use his space in the library. He set up this whole projector and the mics for us, so thank you so much. I would also like to give him the opportunity to kind of share what the library is doing so that you guys all are aware of this gem in our neighborhood and the services that they're providing.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And I see so many familiar faces, and it's great. But I see a lot of faces I've not seen before. Welcome, come back. We want you to use this place up. I've got resources for you. When you come in and ask me for a book, I'll help you get that book. But I'm not here just to sling books at you. We're about helping people reach their goals. If there is a goal that you're working towards, I'm hoping that I have a resource that I can share with you to help you get to it more quickly. So please come and use this resource. I've got so many things that are available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with your library card and your access to the internet. If you don't have access to the internet, we have hotspots that we can lend out to you. If you don't have a device to get onto the internet, we have laptops, well, Chromebooks that we can lend to you. So please take advantage of these things. If you don't know how to use the Chromebook, I've got classes for you, or if you don't know how to use Zoom, every Thursday at 10 o'clock, please join us here. We have that during the day when the littles are in school. It's quiet here, people are patient. We'll show you how to use that stuff. Every Thursday at 10 o'clock, you can join us for tech assistance. Tomorrow's class is on mouse shortcuts. So that's for about an hour, and then there are 2 hours of free time. Time that you can learn about anything that you need to know about your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop, with really, really, really patient and knowledgeable people from the San Diego Futures Foundation. So that's just a little something. For those things that you can get a hold of that are directly through the library service and you can reach at home, if you'll visit our webpage, just remember sandiego.gov. At sandiego.gov, there is a banner that you'll see on every single one of their pages. And in the middle of it is the library link. Get to that link and get to the e-library. That's where you're going to find your e-books, e-audiobooks, digital magazines, online courses, LinkedIn Learning, Gale courses, databases for literature and languages, learning a language. There's just stuff there, and you paid for it already. Use it. I want you to use this place up. If you have questions, need assistance, you're always welcome to call me at the library. My name is Alan Bug. We want you to use this place up. Again, thank you for being here. I want to see you again soon.
Thank you. So we encourage you all again, stay connected, stay involved. This is going to take a lot of us to fight this. We'll try to fight it as hard as we can. But thank you for coming. If you provide us your email, we'll stay in contact with you. And you can also email 921-4st@gmail.com. Thank you all for coming.